Okay, there are some prerequisite guys which we need to do before we jump onto the topic. Hopefully you guys can see my screen. Okay.
Yeah, we can
So
see.
the prerequisite is we need to set up. Yeah, perfect. So the first is we need to have a Visual Studio Code. I believe you guys have installed it already. The second is we need to sign in to Azure portal, which we already have because we have done Azure Cloud Topics prior. We need to have CLI installed, Azure CLI. That's command line interface. That is something we need to install it on our local. So this is the link. Basically, when you go to this link, okay. So when you go to this link, if you come down over here, you just have to download this CLI latest version. This is for Windows, guys. In case of Mac, there is an option of Mac over here. You can just run this command in order to install CLI on Mac. For Windows, this is just a plugin. Just install this and hit next, and CLI will get auto install on your system. How do you verify if the CLI is installed? After that, you can just open PowerShell. Okay, once you open PowerShell, just run this command easy version. And if you're getting an output, that means the CLI is perfectly installed. See, I'm getting an output 2.32.0. Okay, so just go to this, install CLI, check for easy version if things are looking good. Then run this command easy login. Okay, before you go and run this command, make sure you're logged into a portal. What do I mean by portal? I'm talking about the cloud, portal.azure.com. Make sure you're logged into your portal before you go and log into the CLI. Why exactly are we doing all this? CLI and all, because the ARM template which you will create later, that ARM template needs to be deployed on Azure Cloud. So this is a way of authentication. Okay, without this, you cannot authenticate yourself from your local system to Azure Cloud. Okay, so this is the account I'll be using. So this is a way of authentication. Just keep that in mind. I'm in the right subscription right now. I'm not in the right subscription. Okay, perfect. I'm logged in right now to my account. So once you logged into this screen, once you see your subscription and all, then go and run this command, easy login. So what it will do, it will authenticate yourself from your local system also. See, it's logging. See, you're logged in successfully from your local system. This is a subscription where you're logged in right now. Now, if you want to run any CLI command from your local system, then it is like I don't have anything to run for now, but let me show you. Do I have a group to list? No, there's no resource group created, so there's nothing to list right now. Yeah, there's no output. But yeah, at least I'm getting no output. That means I'm successfully logged in. Okay, so first sign into your portal. Second, install CLI. CLI is just a MSI installer guide. Just download that file, hit next, and CLI will get automatically installed. Check for version if CLI is installed. Log into CLI. This option from line 16 till line 22. This option is completely optional. If you have multiple subscription like me, if you saw, I have 3 subscription right now, and because of which I'm getting all this error. Then you can make use of this account list option and select the subscription what you want. This is for them who has multiple subscription in their account. Okay. Then install Visual Studio Code. So let me create a ARM template folder. Okay, then let me open Visual Studio Code. So basically we'll require a plugin in order to write a ARM template. So once we have the Visual Studio Code, then we need to have, so if you want to download the Visual Studio Code, this is the link. You can go and download, and post that we need a ARM template plugin installed on the Visual Studio Code. Okay, let me open the folder. Okay, then there's a plugin which we need to install. Go to extensions in Visual Studio Code. In extension, there is a plugin called Azure Resource Manager Tools. This is the plugin which we require. So basically this supports ARM language, the template language. It helps with snippets. It helps with indentation errors and things like that. So basically these are multiple features: snippets, schema integration, parameter file support, link template support. So there are multiple supports which is provided by this template. So make sure this template is installed on your Visual Studio Code. Once you install it, make sure close and open the Visual Studio again. Okay, in my case it is already installed. I don't need to install it again. So this particular template is this particular plugin is from Microsoft. So there's no issue. You can go and get this plugin installed on your Visual Studio Code. So this is, and rest all these informations are external. This is not required. Just follow from step 1 till step 4. Sign into portal, install CLI, check for version, login, and install Visual Studio Code and install this plugin. That's it. Okay, guys, any questions, any doubt? What are the prerequisites and things like that? Anyone? No questions? So let's start with ARM. Okay, why do we need to learn ARM? We already have Terraform in our course, correct? Now, why exactly are we learning ARM? Anyone? So, when you go to any company who are using Azure Cloud and they're using Azure DevOps as a CI/CD tool, they will not go and use Terraform, guys. The reason they will not go with Terraform, because they will have some sort of SLA, service level agreement, signed with Microsoft, and they want to stick with Microsoft proprietary tool in such cases. So they will be sticking with ARM itself. Okay, so hence you need to have, like, if you're jumping into Azure DevOps, then you need to have a better understanding what exactly is ARM templates and how do you write ARM templates. Okay, on the other side, I'm not denying that Terraform is not required. Terraform is a very important tool nowadays. That is the reason we have Terraform also in this course along with ARM. Okay, so ARM, Terraform, they are both infra as a code tool. So basically it is required for infrastructure, creation of infrastructure. Now, how, from where did this tool got invented? Like why did we start using this and things like that? We'll talk about that in a bit. I'm just looking for the course PPT. Just give me one quick minute. Okay, perfect. Okay, so before we talk about from where did we get this infra as a code tool, let's talk about the difficulty which as an IT professional we were facing when all this software was getting developed at a very higher pace. Okay, so when this agile scrum and everything came in picture, so what was happening? People started building the application modules in a very less time, like in a couple of weeks they started building modules. But the other hand, on the other side, they were not getting the infrastructure to deploy the application. So for example, like if they want to have a dev environment, so they used to reach out to the infra team. They give their requirement to the infra team. The infra team, based on the requirement, they go and manually set up, they create a VM and they go and manually set up the complete infra for the dev team. Now the dev team goes, takes the infra, and when they try to deploy the application used to fail. Okay, because this was manual setup, there was version error, there were multiple errors which they were facing. Now there is a back and forth which was happening between dev and the infra team, and because of this back and forth, it used to around take couple of weeks just to set up one infra. Suppose that the same story goes if they want to have another environment to be created, and this was basically adding delay to their project. Okay, on one side you're talking about automation, you're talking about creating modules on time there and testing it locally, but other side you don't have the right infra to deploy that module. So that was a bigger concern what we had in IT industry. So this gave rise to all this infra as a code tool, guys. So infra as a code is nothing but your infrastructure becomes part of your development activity. Your infrastructure creation becomes part of your Git repository, to be very specific. If things are part of your Git repository, what does that mean? What are the benefits you get? You can easily reuse your piece of code. You can version your piece of code. You can share, contribute to any piece of code. That is the benefit you get when you have anything part of your repository management. That so your infra creation become part of your repository management. So basically, while the development was happening, at the same time the infra creation was also happening. And the beauty of infra as a code is once the template is ready and once the template is successfully deployed, the same template can be reused multiple times. So the same template, you can use it multiple times. You can re-share the template with others. You can revamp the template. So with no time, your infra will be up and running with no time. Okay, that is what infra as a code, to be very specific. There are multiple tools in the market for infra creation. ARM template is very specific to Azure. CloudFormation template is very specific to AWS. And Terraform is a hybrid infra as a cloud that is basically for Azure, AWS, Google GCP, and things like that. So that is for hybrid cloud. That is something we'll talk about Terraform in a later stage. For now, let's focus on ARM. As I said, ARM is mostly Azure centric. This is basically used by companies who don't want to use any third party applications, who want to stick with whatever Microsoft is providing. In such cases, they will only work with ARM. They will not use any third party tools. Reason of ARM, the main reason is they have some sort of SLA agreement signed with Microsoft, so they will stick with ARM. Plus ARM, whatever new services comes in Azure, first it will be given to ARM, later it will be provided to any other tool. Okay, so the plugin will be available to ARM first, then it will be available to others. Okay, so let's talk about ARM. Before we talk about ARM, let's talk about what exactly is Azure Resource Manager in cloud. Okay, so this is your cloud services, guys. This is the middle layer, and this is how you will be accessing your cloud services. Okay, till now you have seen me accessing your cloud services using portal. So what we were doing, we logged into the portal, creating a resources, and we were able to use the resources. Now how exactly this happens? Now this portal, there's a middleware called Azure Resource Manager. Azure Resource Manager is basically what this person is basically what this is a management layer. This thing is a management layer over here. Okay, so whatever resource you want to create, like you want to create a data store, web app, virtual machine, service management, whatever, it goes through this resource manager. So you need to get yourself authenticated first. Once you're authenticated at the resource manager management layer, then based on your authorization, you'll be able to create your resources. That is what we were doing with this portal thing. That is what we were doing with this portal thing. Okay, so that is what happens in real time. When you send a request, when you sign into your Azure portal, then using this Azure Resource Manager, you will be able to create and manage your resources. Now, same thing we are doing it with CLI. We just install CLI, correct? Okay. Can we do the same thing using CLI? Yes, you can manage most of your services of Azure Cloud using CLI. Again, the CLI will basically use SDK. It's nothing but it's a software development toolkit. So we have installed that on your local. We have authenticated using AZ login. Now, if I want to do anything, I can through SDK, I can again reach out to Azure Resource Manager and I can manage my underlying resources on cloud. Same goes with PowerShell. Same goes with REST clients. REST client is nothing but the API request, the put, get, and everything what you do. All this also happens through Azure Resource Manager. So without Azure Resource Manager, Azure Resource Manager is nothing but it's a what exactly it is? It's a middleware through which all the authentication and authorization after that, this middleware will give you access to the underlying resources. You cannot bypass this thing. This is the new method through which you will be able to access your resources on cloud. Okay, what are the benefits of using Azure Resource Manager? It's a management layer. Azure Resource Manager is the management layer responsible for creating, updating, and managing resources. So ARM is responsible for doing all this. I'm not talking about the template yet, guys. Okay, don't get confused with the template. Template is just one of the feature of this resource manager. Okay, multiple ways to deploy. Regardless whether you're using Azure Portal, PowerShell, CLI, or REST API, Azure Resource Manager offers way to deploy and manage your resources. So these are the ways through which you will be able to access and manage your resources using ARM on cloud. What are the different characteristics? What are the different features of Azure Resource Manager? It got access control, it got locks, it got tags, it got resource grouping, and very important, it got templates. Templates are some of the features offered by ARM, which was not available in previous model. So the previous model we had Azure Service Manager. So remember I spoke about Classic, Azure Classic, wherein each resource was getting created individually and you need to manage those resources individually. That was Azure Service Manager. That was after 2013. this Azure Resource Manager was introduced, and over at that point of time, this resource grouping was introduced and templating was introduced. So a drastic change what Microsoft has done on the cloud environment. Okay. Prior to that, like suppose if you want to create if you want to create a VM, you need to create a VM separately. You need to create a storage account separately. You need to assign a disk separately. You need to create a OS separately. There was no option to group all the resources together. No grouping, no life cycle management, nothing. Now with Azure Resource Manager, what we do first, we create a resource group first, correct? We create a resource group first. Then whatever resources we need to create a VM, everything gets included inside that VM in the group. If you want to give access to the VM, you give access at the resource group level itself. So once you give access at the resource group level, the complete access in the VM will be given. That is what resource group has bought. And this is what Azure Resource Manager has bought. Okay. Now this Azure Resource Manager has one more feature of templating. So from here, the template concept came in. ARM, that's why we call it as ARM templates. Okay, because whatever you're doing, the managing your resources, you can do it through a template file now, basically, and that template file will be part of your repository. Okay, so basically, what happens? The template is written in a JSON format. ARM templates are written in JSON format, guys. That when you write the template, so I'll talk about the lifecycle. Don't worry. Give me a second. So this is how the ARM template looks like. Basically, it's written in a JSON format. So when a request is sent, this JSON format gets converted into a API call. Okay, it gets converted into a API call, and the API call is given to this resource manager through the REST clients. Okay, and then the resources are created on cloud. We'll see it in practical, you'll understand more in details. But for now, that is what happens in the backend. Okay, what are the features of ARM template? It supports declarative automation. As I said, it is a JSON. It's written in JSON. ARM templates use a JSON files. In declarative automation, what exactly happens? You need to declare the resources, but not how to create them. So basically what will happen, you will declare all your resources. Suppose you want to create a VM. You declare that I want to create a VM with this configuration, with this uh, virtual network, this public IP and everything. You will declare it in your file. Creating the resources is resource manager responsibility. How the resource will be created, what will be the sequence of the resources, that your VM should get created first, then the disk should be created, then the disk should be attached to the VM. Prior to that, the virtual network needs to be created, then a public IP needs to be created. All the sequencing part and everything will be taken care by this resource manager. It's a responsibility of your resource manager, not your responsibility. So that is what the beauty of declarative language is. Declarative automation. You just define what needs to be created and all other part will be taken care by this resource manager. As I said, templates are consistent and reusable. So once you write the template, that template can be reused multiple times. That is the beauty of ARM template. Okay. So once you create a, as I said earlier, once you create a resource online, and if it's successfully created using the same template, you can create multiple resources. Like suppose you created a resource called dev environment. Now, if you want to create a QA stage prod, the same template can be used to create those resources. Error prone task and simplified development. So if you're creating any environment manually, the chances of error is very high. And with ARM templates, we can deploy all the resources we define in a single operation. So if you're creating any resources manually, just think the chances of human error is very high. But if you're creating a template, like if you're creating a VM, you can define everything in the template and it will all the resources. So if you when you create a VM is not the only thing gets created, guys, correct? There's so many other resources which gets created along with VM. So if you define everything in the single template, the life cycle will be consistent. Everything will be created at once, and if you want to delete everything at once, everything will be deleted at once. So it will maintain and manage the same life cycle of the resources. Linkable and help complex deployment. Now, if you have some complex deployment wherein you have multiple resources, like suppose you're creating a VM, then you're creating a database, then you're creating a database server, then you're creating a storage account, then you're creating a CDN, then you're creating a virtual network. So there are so many resources you're creating, correct? And if you put everything into one single template file, your template file will be very complicated, correct? We're talking about more than 500 line of code right now. So that becomes very complicated. So ARM has a feature wherein you can link your templates. What do I mean by link? So you can create one main file, then post that you can create multiple templates, like one will have your VM, one will have your virtual network, one will have your storage account, and things like that. And you can link everything together. This way you are segregating the resource creation in multiple templates. What is the benefit of doing this? Your deployment is segregated. You got multiple templates created. Now all the templates are linked with one single file. Okay. Now suppose tomorrow if you're making changes to any of the resources, you can directly jump onto that file and make your changes. So that is also supported by ARM. So you can write small ARM templates, link them to a parent template. This helps in managing different parts of template efficiently. Okay. With ARM templates, we can deploy complex environment in the correct dependency order. So these are all feature of what are the additional feature ARM provides. Declarative automation, the consistent and reusable error-prone task, linkable and help complex deployment. This is basically the structure of ARM, guys. You got schema, content version, parameters, functions, variables, resources, output. This is how your ARM template will look like in reality. Okay. Now, what exactly this template is, let's talk about what is schema and things like that in details. Before that, anyone, any questions, any doubt? What is ARM? Anyone? Okay. What exactly is schema? Now let's divide this template. So these are your templates, guys. Like when you create template, these are the things which will be there in your template file. Now, what exactly these are? Let's go and understand this. Now, schema. What is schema? This is nothing but the reference, the location of JSON file schema that describe the version of the template language. Okay, there are different versions of template language available. So the version keeps on updating. So basically, this is the place where all your ARM template related plugins are kept. Using this schema, your ARM will understand what exactly you're trying to do. Now, if you see, this schema is basically subscription deployment template. Same way you will have resource deployment template. You will have, so your ARM can be created at multiple layers. Basically, we'll do at the subscription layer itself. So we'll be creating resources at the subscription layer. Okay. Now that is what we are doing in reality also. Now this is my subscription, and whenever I go and create any resource, for example, if I'm creating a virtual machine, this will automatically go and select a subscription for me. So this is what in reality we are doing. We are creating resources at the subscription layer. See, it has selected my subscription automatically. That is what, even with ARM, will do the exact same thing, nothing different. Okay, so basically this schema URL is nothing but this is the place where all the schema related plugins and things are kept. So basically you will require this if you're writing a template. And this is nothing but these are the versions. 2018, this is the version which I think there are 2019 and 2020 also available right now, but this is what the version is, and this is what the schema file you will be using, and this is what the URL is where the schemas are kept. Schemas are nothing but these are basically a structure or a plugin, you can say. If you go to this link, you will find out the structure of your template. Okay, we can deploy ARM template to different scopes. So as I said, you can deploy template at the tenant level, management group level, and subscription. Based on the scope that we are selecting, the schema will change. Now this is at the subscription level what we are doing. Now at the management layer, this thing will change. This part will change. I'll show you what exactly it is. Okay, but basically 90% of time you will be creating your resources at the subscription level only, guys. Tenant and management is basically if you're doing from the administrative perspective, you're doing something, then at that time you might end up writing templates at the tenant or a management group layer. But mostly you will be doing everything at the schema level, at the subscription deployment level. Okay, that is what schema is all about. So this is nothing but it's a reference to the JSON files. So whatever you write in the template, this reference you need to give. Okay, content version. The second, this is the content version. You can define this version by yourself. So whenever you create a new template, this is by default, you get something like this. When you keep on updating your template, you can keep on updating these numbers by yourself. Okay, this is something you can do it by yourself. You can put the numbers, whatever numbers you want. Okay, if your template is part of your repository, this is not required even. If it is part of your source control, then this is not even required. But if you want to manage your own version by yourself, then you can put your content version over here. Okay, so this is used to version the template. The default value is this. Any value can be given to eliminate. Okay, so this is not required when you're using a repository management, but if you want to maintain your own version of your template, you can definitely go and use it. Parameters and variables. Okay, parameters are basically, these are the values which you can provide as an input to your template. So basically, if you want to make your template reusable, then you will make use of parameters. Now, just imagine if you're not using parameter and if you're creating a template, like say, so what will happen? You will end up hard coding the values. What are the values which will be hard coded? Like suppose you're creating a VM. So your VM name will be hard coded. Your storage account name will be hard coded. Your virtual network name will be hard coded. The IP address will be hard coded. Now, if you're hard coding everything, do you think you can reuse your template? No, because you need to go and make changes to the hard coded values. Okay. So in order to avoid such things, you got parameters. So basically what you will do, you can supply those hard coded values at the runtime. What do I mean by runtime? When your template is actually running, at that time you can supply those values. Like you can, at that time you can define what VM name I want, what storage account name I want, and things like that. By doing this, what will happen? You can reuse your templates n number of times. Okay. Same goes with variables. Now variables is what? In a coding language, what is variables? Okay, you are storing a temporary value, correct? Now this is something you define like a equal to 1, something like this. So in a coding language, what we do, we are assigning a value of 1, correct? Now whenever I want to call this a, like suppose if I write in Python, I just do a print statement and I just call a. What will happen? 1 will be printed. So what are we doing? We are assigning a equal to 1. So this value is assigned at the memory, in a system memory. So this is a value which is, it's a temporary value which is assigned to a, and whenever you want to call a, then 1 will be printed for me. This is called variables. Same thing you can do it with variables in template. You can assign some values to it, and if you want to call those values in your when you're running your template, then those values will be assigned when your template is executed. Same concept, coding language concept is used over here. Okay, so variable can be used to hard code values to your template. If you are referencing a value with the help of variables, if the value needs to be modified instead of updating occurrence, you just need to update the value of the variable. Now this is when we do practical, guys, you'll understand more. Don't go with the statements. Just understand the concept of variable. Variable is nothing but you're assigning values to your resources. That values can be called when you're running the template. Okay. Okay. So during the template execution, those values will be assigned. That is what variable is all about. Functions. This is just nothing but as a user defined functions, guys. So if there's any repetitive blocks in your template, like suppose you're using some sort of calculation in your template, like you're adding two numbers, and that calculation is getting used n number of times inside your inside your template. Okay, so what will happen? You will be writing repetitive codes, repetitive codes inside your template. If you want to avoid such things, then you can define a function and you just call those function inside your template. Okay, this is again a coding language, guys. Don't worry, we'll do all this practically, then you'll understand more in details. Okay, so if you want to have any functions created, any repetitive blocks, then you can have a function created by yourself. Now this is important. Now this is the block where all your resources will be defined. Now if you see this, I'm creating a web app over here. So I'm creating a service plan first, then later I'll be creating a web app, actual web app. So resources will be intended to create or update will be declared inside this element. So over here, your resources, whatever resources you want to create, all the resources will be declared in this resources tab. Okay. Last but not the least, output. Output is basically if you want to display values that are written after deployment. Once your resources are deployed and you want to have an output, like you want to have a VM ID and things like that. If you have any such requirement, then you can define it under output. So like if you want to know what is the public IP address and things like that, so that is something you can define it inside the output, and the output will be declared. Okay, now this is what ARM template is all about, guys. Okay, these are the parameters which you will come across when you are writing ARM template. Okay, any questions? Don't worry, guys, this is very easy. It's looking difficult, but when we start actually implementing all this is very easy. These are just concepts. Okay, and I'll show you various ways how do we write ARM template easily without much of efforts. Okay, so don't worry. If you're all good,
Excuse me. The Visual Studio Code that you installed that you're asking us to install, is it the same one that we installed before?
no, we previously we have not installed Visual Studio Code. We have installed Visual Studio previously. It's two different things. Now if you see this, we got Visual Studio 2019. This is different, and Visual Studio Code is different.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
It's two different icon over here. Okay. Anyone else, guys? Any other question?
Hi, it's Victoria. Um, I with the ARM templates, how do you deal with sensitive values, or how do you like deal with
Sensitive
sensitive?
values and all, we can put it in Vault. Okay, so that is something we'll talk about later. I'll show you how do we work with Vault. Sensitive information will not pass on inside any template, any files. Everything will be kept inside Vault. With ARM, we can easily integrate Key Vault, Azure Key Vault with ARM, and we can keep all the sensitive values inside the Key Vault. Later, I'll show you how do we use Key Vault, guys, and how do we integrate Key Vault with pipelines and everything. That is something I'll show you. But yeah, answering to your question, sensitive values will be kept inside Vault, not inside ARM template. Okay,
Thank you.
no problem. Anyone else? Okay, let me show you a very simple ARM template right now with the help of the plugin. How the ARM template. So we'll basically what we'll do, we'll create a Azure web app, because eventually what is my goal? I want to deploy my application. We have an application .NET application, correct? So I want to automate the deployment of a .NET application. So that's why I'm creating a ARM template. So what I'll do, I'll just create a file called azwebapp.json, correct? It's a JSON file, correct? ARM template is written in JSON. It's a declarative language. So we have a JSON file created. Now the first thing you need to do is, after the prerequisite, come over here. At the right hand side, there's an option to select language mode. Click over here. Now if you see, there is an option of Azure Resource Manager template. Select this language. This is only possible when you have the plugin installed, guys. If you don't have the plugin, this language support is not there. So once you go in, you will have this language support given to you. Now I need to create the template. Now what did I say? There are multiple scope on which you can create the template. The first, wait, see, now the first, when you hit A, automatically you're getting a drop down. Now if you see, this first option is resource group template. The scope is at the resource group level. The second is management group template. The scope is at the management group level. Third is subscription template, if you want to create resources at the subscription level. Fourth is tenant template. Fifth is parameters. So which one we will be using? We'll be using subscription template. Now this you need to be very precise, guys, because your schemas will change if you're not selecting the right one. Let me show you. Now I have selected subscription level. Now automatically the structure of template is created. Did we do anything advanced, anything extra? No. The template schemas are already created. Now the very important part is this link. Do you see the subscription I've selected? The schema is subscription deployment template. The version is 2013. This is a version, guys. This was the year when this schema was created. So this is the version which you see, 2018-0501. Now if I select anything else, for example, if I select management, 2019 got changed and management group deployment template. Okay. So you have to be very specific what you're doing. Hit A and automatically you get the schema. Now if you go over here, if you want to access this link, you'll not be able to access. Let's try. See this. This is nothing but these are all the required links which is required to connect to your Azure Resource Manager. All the schema references are given over here in this link. So like suppose you're creating any resources, it will require a schema reference. It will come to this link. It will access the reference, then it will get you the resource, the right resource. Okay. So this schema reference thing is very important when you're writing your template. Content version, as I said, it's up to you what you're creating. Parameter function, so just remove the function. We'll not be doing the function things over here. These are the important things which we'll work on. Schema, parameter, variables, resources, output. For now, just ignore parameter, variables and output and focus on resources. This is the place where all your resources will be created. Now, if you see this curly brace, if you see this curly braces, this means it's a dictionary. What is a dictionary? Dictionary is nothing but it's a key value pair. A dictionary is something like this, key value. So like if you're defining a name, you will have to define a value to it. That is what dictionary is all about. Okay. Wherein, so whenever you see this curly braces, it's a dictionary. Okay. Now, if you see this, the parameter itself starts with the curly braces and ends with the curly braces. And in between, if you see, these are all dictionary. This is the key and this is the value. This is the key, this is the value. Now, wherever you see this bracket, this is a list of items. Now, when you create a resource, do you create only one resource or do you create multiple resources? Definitely multiple resources, correct? So you will have a list of resources over here created. Now in Azure, whenever you want to create a resource, what do you create the first? You create a resource group. Then you create the service plan. Then a actual resource gets created, correct? Then the resource. Okay, so that is what we need to, this is the same sequence we need to follow when you're writing your template. Now when you want to create a Azure web app, when you want to create a Azure web app, that's app service. When you want to create a Azure web app, the first thing is resource group you need to create. Okay, then you need to select your pricing. This is where your service plan will be created. This is where you will select the compute, which resource you want to create, F1, S1 and things like that. Let me show you, wait. Let me create a resource group. Okay, now if you see this pricing, explore the pricing. Let's go and explore. I think we have done this when we were doing web app, but it's okay. Now this is where the pricing happens. F1 stands for F1 and B1, they come in free tier. You get 60 minutes free, and this is what the compute looks like. Cost is free. B1 is also, if you are in free tier, then B1 is also free, but now it is not free for me. I'm not into free tier. The cost is 1.335 INR. So this is what service plan is. So basically you select the compute, you create a service plan, you select what services you want to create, what plan you want to select. So basically this needs to be created first. Once this is created, then only your web app will be created over here. You'll be able to create your web app. Okay, this is the sequence which you need to follow in order to create a Azure app service. The same thing you need to do it in the template also. Okay, when you're creating a resource, you will have this resource created first, the service plan created first. Second, your web app will be created over here. And what about the resource group? So resource group creation is not supported by ARM template, guys. So this will not be created. I'll show you a different way how a resource group gets created. But for now, this part is not supported by ARM. Just keep that in mind. Okay. Now don't worry. We'll have the resource created over here. Now let's come back. Now what is the first thing you need to create? You need to create a service plan. So if you just hit N stands for new. Okay. And if you just write ARM hyphen service hyphen plan. Wait. Okay, now when I see ARM hyphen plan, I just hit enter. Do you see what exactly it is written over here? If you want to know more about this, you can have more. Azure Service Plan. This is what we need. Azure Application Service Plan. Hit enter. Do you see that automatically you're getting the piece of code? This is the name of your service plan. This is the type. This is very important now. Why this is important? Because using this type, and from where you're getting this type? You're getting this type from this schema. Using this type, it's a service plan, your server farm. So it is known as server farm basically. So using this type, your service plan will be created. This is the API version, the latest version 2020, which your service plan will be using. It will take the location from where it will take the location. It will take the location from resource group dot location. So as if now the resource group is not created. When we create the resource group, it will take the location from the resource group itself. SKU. SKU is a stock unit. So this will select the F1. Remember free tier 1. And how many web app will be created? It will create one web app. Okay. What will be the display name? The tagging. This is again a tagging will happen. A display name is app service plan. And an additional property is assigned, that is app service plan. That's it. Your service plan got created. What we have created by this piece of code, your service plan is created. Okay. Now if you see this is curly braces. That means it accepts key value pair. So this is key and this is value. Both are string. This is a string value and this is also a string value. Okay, keep that in mind. Now this is a service plan got created. Now what do you need to create? You need to create a service app service, correct? Web app. Again the same thing. I just put ARM hyphen web app. See, do you see the first option? ARM web app. What exactly it will do? Web application. That's it. See this. Your web application code is also ready. This is all thanks to the plugin which we're using, guys. Because of the help of the plugin, you don't need to write this code. Just imagine if you're writing all these curly braces and things by yourself, how much time it will take and how much error you will end up doing. If I want to write this all by myself, I have to remember this type first. I need to remember the version, the right version. I need to remember the right indentations. I need to remember where to put the curly braces and things like that. Everything I need to remember. And if you do this, then you'll definitely, this is very time consuming. So all thanks to this plugin, you're able to write this template with ease. Now, if you see this, this is your web app. This is the name of your web app. This is the type, Microsoft websites. This is the API version, resource location. Again, it will take the resource because everything will be created inside the resource group. So it will be taking the resource group location. Tagging, this is how it will be tagging. I'll explain you what this concat is all about later. Depends on, so there's a condition over here. This web app creation is dependent on this service plan. If this service plan is not created, this web app will not be created, guys. So this service plan creation is dependent upon, sorry, this web app creation is dependent upon this service plan. Okay. Now this is the property and the output file. That's it. So if you ask me, you have a web app template created. We got a web app template created now. Tomorrow I'll show you how do we execute this web app, and later I'll show you how do we customize, how do we make changes to the web app, how do we add parameters to it, how do we add variables to it. All this I'll show you tomorrow. Today we'll stop over here, and this is something, make sure you reach till this section, guys, because it's looking complicated, but frankly it is not complicated. I have not written even a single line of code. It is all thanks to the plugin. We are using the plugin to write ARM templates right now. And don't worry, later in this course I'll show you how do we generate auto populated templates I'll show you all the easier way, all the easy method. As if now we'll go with the hard way, wherein we'll write everything from scratch. Later I'll show you the easier way also. Don't worry. Okay, are we good till here? Any questions, any doubt? Anyone?
Hi.
Yeah.
Just quick one. How would you add comments to ARM template if
Comments
you
is
needed
nothing
to?
but if you want to add comments, like for example, if I want to add something over here, like something like this, I'm writing template for Azure web app, something like this. Okay, just
Hmm.
do a see this
Okay.
forward slash. This is how you can, and if you want to close it also, you can close it also. In between, you can have this is how you will be closing your templates. This is more than enough. This is how your template will be commented out in your JSON.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so you can put the comments at the top if you want. That's make sure you're not putting inside your. You can put inside your this also, curly braces also. So wherever you're putting, just have the /* and put your comments, and you can also close it by /* star / sorry. When you're closing it, it should be */. That is how you will be commenting your. If you want to put any sort of comments inside the template. Okay. Or there's a shortcut also. Wait. You can also use this double slashes, guys. Now, if you want to comment out, double slashes is also so /* start works in multi-line. If you want to have this way, this is how you will be able to comment your template file. Double // Okay. There are multiple ways to comment. The best way is double / and /*. Okay, hope that helps.
Thank you.
No, hash will not work, Ken. I'll show you. If I'm inside the JSON, see, hash is not working. Hash will work basically in YAML. In XML and JSON, hash will not work. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Let's meet up tomorrow. Let's continue with ARM. This is very interesting topic, guys. Make sure whatever I did till now, you go through the videos again, follow my videos, and try to create this template by yourself again. Because tomorrow we'll do customization to this template, and that becomes more complicated. It will add more complication if you have not reached till here. Okay, so go and write this template by yourself. Okay, chalo, bye bye. See you tomorrow, and let's continue with this topic. Bye.